Hello. So I'm Lauren Mitchell, and I am choosing to talk about visual supports for our students with autism and the importance of using them as an evidence-based practice. Um, so, Visual supports are extremely useful in teaching our autistic students and can include a variety of things such as visual schedules, task lists, cue cards, etc. I even have on my lanyard for school, I have a little ring that has some visuals on them, such as stop, sit, stand, finished that I have used for several years. Um, and they're very useful. All different kinds of visual supports are very useful in helping our students be able to perform a task or with communicating and helps to not have to give them quite as many prompts. Um, and the visual supports themselves are used as prompts, and they are actually easier to fade out than your verbal prompts. And they can come in a variety of formats, such as like a visual schedule, um, and or even with the visual schedule, they can have different like types. And that will depend on like the needs of your student. So for example, one student might need like an actual tangible physical object to represent the task at hand, such as maybe brushing their teeth. So maybe you need to present them with their actual toothbrush, and that will help them understand, oh, it's time to brush my teeth. Whereas, Susie may be fine with just a picture of herself brushing her teeth. And you may even have other students who don't even need, pictures of themselves, like even that level of concrete representation. They may just need, a generic picture of a toothbrush or even like a clip art picture or drawing of toothbrush. Um, and again, that's just going to depend on the needs of your student. They can be highly differentiated for the task at hand, um, depending on what you're using them for and who is using them. Scripts are also considered visuals sometimes because they can be written down. So because you could look at the words, that's why they're considered visuals. And those scripts are used for like helping to increase the communication by giving your student like literally a script of words to follow for certain situations. Um, Oftentimes also like our students who use the AAC devices, the augmentative and alternative communication devices, or even like the core boards, those are visual supports as well. And those are great in helping to facilitate their communication. Um, I've just got some examples here that you can see, um, different task cards, or like that's kind of like a core board that you can see. They have um, differences even here, where the one on the right has only the pictures, and then the one on the left has pictures paired with words. Um, so this, like I said, helps at different levels for the different needs of your students. So why use visuals? So for many autistic students, communication is a big struggle. Both receptive and expressive language by verbal means can be challenging. Um, and visual supports are a great tool to use in order to give them like more of a way, not only to say like what they want, like if they're using an AAC device, but also for them to better understand what it is you're asking of them or telling them. Um, this also like helps in reducing some of the external auditory stimuli that comes in. And we all know our autistic kids, sensory overload can be a big thing. So just talking at them and repeating and saying more words can sometimes be more harmful rather than if we use less words and give them a visual that can help them process better what you're asking. Um, and also, a lot of them tend to be visual learners, so the visual supports are very useful. So I've got a couple websites listed here. So this picture on the right is from Teachers Pay Teachers. Um, you can see that this is just a general search of PECS, which is the Picture Exchange Communication System for your students with autism, or other students that have to be autism, because lots of people can use them. But this was just like the general under $5 category, but they do have free options. There's just more that's included with if you pay, because they want to make money. So I get that. But there's also other websites where you can get free resources. Um, but there's also different like curriculum websites that can be used that have um, visuals built in not only to the curriculum but also like to where you can create your own. And one in particular that I have actually used before is intowhy.com, which they actually rebranded, and I think it's called Everway now, but this link still works. Um, but this is just the picture on the left is just kind of one example of some of the visuals that you might find on their website in the different lessons. Um, but there's tons of different websites and resources online that you can go to in order to obtain visuals. And you can even also just look up different clip art pictures and make them yourself using Google Docs or Microsoft Word. Where there's a will, there's a way. So lots of different places you can get these visuals from. And I know lots of districts are really great and have resources for you, such as Boardmaker. So if you're not really sure where to find them, if you don't already know, then definitely talk to your team and figure out what y'all already have. That way you don't go paying for something if you already have it. Um, so for this video, I'm actually utilizing a recipe from the website that I previously mentioned, intowhy.com. So this curriculum does a absolutely fantastic job of including like multiple evidence-based practices, but especially with the visuals. They use visuals for everything. And I've actually made this specific recipe with students in the past in my previous classroom. Um, and I found that the visuals were definitely helpful in order for them to um, not only better understand what ingredients they needed to obtain and what tools they were using, but also being able to follow the recipe itself, of course, with adult supervision. So this recipe was for the cheesy quesadillas, and you'll see right at the top, even at the very beginning, like it tells you what you need, and there's even a visual for need. So you're getting what you need with that visual. And it has all of the ingredients listed and all of the tools you'll need. I just grabbed a few of them here because I don't have a way to transport, over to my kitchen easily. Um, um, and Anyway, so you got your oil, which has the picture. We got the tortillas, they have their picture. Got spatula, all of the ingredients and tools you need. They all have their own visual. And then it does a breakdown of exactly what you're supposed to do and gives visuals for that as well. And so actually I'll show you more in depth what the recipe looks like. So this is I downloaded a while back the the lesson plans from several of the months because this website lets you do that and you can download all of the lesson plans and the activities. And so this was one of the activities was measuring is called Measure It. And so the kids, have to measure out the amount of the ingredients and then put them together, follow the recipe, and it's really great. So you'll see it has, like I said, it has the visuals up at the top for all the ingredients you need and includes visuals all along the way for all of the steps in making your recipe. And it goes all the way down. So, you put your skillet on your your burner here. So put it on your burner, you turn your burner on. It even shows you what temperature to put it at, and then tells you to get your oil and put it in the pan. so on and so forth. It just breaks it down and gives visuals all along the way for you to be able to follow that recipe with your students. Um, and it's really great. And then it even has a recipe review, and the visuals here um, are great as well. I mean, talk about how did it taste? Well, if the kids don't know what the word taste means, that visual support right there, oh, they have to eat it. So they may understand better. Oh, if I eat it, ooh, is it yummy? Do I like it? Is it okay? Or bleh, do I not like it? So this is a really great tool. Um, and it goes even further, gives kids a chance to practice putting the steps in order again with those visuals. And they can do that as an activity. And then you also have the visual support cards. So you can go over what each item is individually. If having too many visuals on one page is too much for your student, you can just present them one at a time, which again, some kids might need if that's what level of visual support they're at. I have also sometimes in the recipes that are included, instead of using the visuals that are here, I may take a picture ahead of time of the actual ingredient itself and then give them the picture of the actual ingredient we're using and not just the generic clip art version that's on the recipe here. Again, you have to tailor it to the needs of your student, but visual supports are super helpful and your students will highly benefit from them. Um, so just kind of keep on going forward. There's some other resources, you could look at. Google has a ton of things, that I was able to find. So like this kind of explains visual supports. So if you had a parent maybe who had questions on, well, what are the visuals? How can I use them? This is type of thing would maybe better help somebody whose student may have been very recently identified as having autism or um, even another disorder or something that they um, might benefit from them. Because these are not just for kids with autism, as we all know, but autistic kids highly, highly benefit from these visuals. Um, anyway, again, the second link was from the N2Y website, and this also talks about visual strategies for your students with autism, and you don't have to have a login for this. I will say, um, kind of touching back on the curriculum itself, it is expensive. So if your district does not have the funds for it, they do at least have information on here that you don't have to have a login for in order to um, uh, get that information. But if your district does have access to being able to purchase it or has this purchased, highly recommend this curriculum. But this has some more, information on visual strategies for students with autism. This was a website that had a whole bunch of different visuals that you could utilize for your classroom. So, like, there's morning meeting that has visuals. There's adapted work that has visuals. So many different things. So there are definitely a lot of resources out there that you could use in order to support your students. Um, and then this last one uh, was just a website that has a bunch of different PECs, again, that picture exchange communication system, those pictures. Um, so one thing I will say as well, one last thing with visuals is just to be consistent um, because again, as we know, students with autism thrive on routine. And so just being consistent with using the visuals will help support them better. But anyway, this was very long-winded. I'm so sorry. Thank you for listening, and y'all have a great rest of your weekend.